Chief Olufalaye, former national chairman of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) and one-time secretary to the government of the Federation (SGF), has said honest and principled Nigerians will find it very difficult to attain political power, especially the presidency, because the country is still practicing jungle politics. Speaking in an interview with Independent, Falaye, a former presidential candidate of the Alliance for Democracy (AD) in the 1999 presidential election, said competition for power in Nigeria is usually in favor of unscrupulous and unprincipled politicians who are prepared to do anything to achieve power. He said, given the nature of politics in Nigeria, which is dirty and brutal, any politician who wants to play by the rule will find it difficult to achieve political power. It's apparent that the competition for power in this world often goes in favor of the unscrupulous. The unscrupulous has no constraints. If you are going to the box, there are rules and regulations. Those rules are the constraints. It means as a boxer, I cannot hit my opponent below the belt. But for the unscrupulous, he can hit you anywhere and so he wins. The decent, honest candidate has self-imposed constraints, which are rules and regulations made by himself in order to regulate the actions and conduct, so that he can be a decent person in all places at all times. That is a handicap when it comes to competition for power, particularly in a jungle such as Nigeria. One of my younger followers in this state came to hear one day. He said, "Sir, I can't see you winning the presidency of Nigeria because you are not made for here. People like you should play politics in the United States or UK, where they practice civilized politics of ideas. Here in Nigeria, we are in the jungle, and you must play jungle politics in order to win." Throughout my time in politics, I never recruited one thug. When we were going to do SDP presidential primary in 1992, I produced a handbook for all my agents and supporters nationwide. In that book, I told them not to rig for me because I don't want to rule by fraud. I also told them to ensure that the other opponents do not rig me out. Can a man like that win against somebody who said the election is do or die? I had the best political machine after Action Group. I had a structure nationwide. The other people had no structure at all. In fact, there were times I felt the competition was unfair because I was just too far ahead of my opponents. On the day of the primary, my major opponent was Shehu Musa Yaradua. Our supporters had to line up behind our pictures. My line was 100 meters long, while his own was just a quarter of that. That goes to show you why principled people with a commitment to civilized behavior are at advantage. At the spiritual level, as a Christian, Jesus Christ said, "The ruler of this world cometh, but he will have no power over you, because I have conquered the world." Jesus told his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane that the devil is the ruler of the world. That shows that the devil controls all the important things in the world. Power is the most important thing in the world, and the devil will give power to his people. Occasionally, those who are not on the side will get power because God wants to use that to show how good governance should be. But most of the time, power comes to his people, he said. When they started counting for Yaradua, they counted 1, 4, 8, 10, 12, 15, and so on. They, however, gave me regressive counting. They counted mine as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When they get to 10, they will go back to 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Broad daylight robbery. So guys, I'm sure you heard what this Chief Falaya said, that honest people can be president, or honest person can be president. Of course, you see what is happening now, Okay, even when Chief Falaya started it, I said, what do you mean? How can you say honest people cannot be president in this country, cannot be leader in this country? Then what about What about Mr. Integrity, our president, Buhari? You know, his second name is the Integrity. So if you say honest people cannot be president, then how did he become the president? Hey, as soon as he was talking about it, I began to see. I began to see a lot of things that we've been experiencing. You know, the president will just, you know, there are people working for him. He will not even tell you to do anything, but whatever you do, even if it's in the wrong way, we don't say anything. Meaning that, of course, those people who are working for him knows that he will not reject it. He will not say anything. You know, just like it was a good luck said that, you know, he just considered the fact that he doesn't want it. But we see a lot of things when you talk about this fight, the corruption fight. You see that we are going nowhere. When somebody who is in their camp, that's what I'm saying. Somebody who is in their camp is involved in one corrupt practices or the other, they won't say anything. They will just keep quiet. But let it be opposition. They will. That is when they will raise on their tentacles and begin to want to fight that person. So we know how it plays. You cannot say somebody made that statement that you cannot say you don't eat beans, but when you see akara, you see beans, you see my mind like this, say, oh my goodness, you will grab it. But you say, I don't like beans, I hate beans in my life. How can you say, how can you dissociate yourself when you see eat akara and my mind and you say you don't like beans? It doesn't add up. So of course that is how it has been rolling. When you see, that's why you see a lot of people, you have that belief, you have that trust. If this person gets there, if this person is opportune to be at the helm of our affair, the person will be able to do XYZ. But once they get there, you'll be surprised. Is it not the same person that used to say this, that used to say that? Then at the end of the day, by the time the person gets there, the person will just fold arms. He will not be able to say anything, because by the time you get there, you see that they are wolves, they are whatever, and you see yourself standing alone. And most of the time, majority of them, they don't even say, oh, let me just back down, let me just resign, let me just, oh, I'm not interested again. It now becomes, if you cannot beat them, you join them. I don't just know, where do we start from? The people that we are talking about, like somebody who was telling Chief Alai that your type of person should be in the UK or US. How come? How at the end of the day, do you know one thing? I've heard a lot of people, they will tell you, oh, we are cultured people, we are so this and that, we are so this and that. But in our actions, in everything, even in our governance, we talk about respect, we talk about this. It is not reflecting in our day-to-day lives. Something is missing. Some people will tell you that, oh, don't take your children to abroad, don't take them this and that. We have culture, this is. If we have that culture that we are talking about, how is it that our people, our so-called leaders are misbehaving? Everybody is misbehaving, and we always talk about, oh yes, I have this thing, I have this thing there, we are this and that. I can't relate to that. How did we get it wrong? You see other people doing abnormal things, they are the ones stealing. They have talks here and there. See what is happening in Benin, in Edo State. It's a typical example. Just like he said he never had one thug. And they were even counting. You heard when he said, oh, they were counting, in an abnormal manner. When it gets to him, they will count it normally. But when they get to the other opposition, they will be jumping. And by the time they get to 10, they will come back again. Who does that? Who does that? And that reminds me of what happened to this man. What is this man's name? This professor, Patutomi. Hey, I laughed that very day. The man went to Delta State he wanted to go and contest for governorship or whatever. Do you know that how much he paid? Whether he paid 50 million naira to buy form, I don't even know, something like that. I don't know. But he spent money. It might not be up to that, but he spent money to just buy the form. And he said he was even at his home, jejely, where he was, whether it was in his hotel in Delta State. So they had already planned for primaries that very day. The poor man was just, normal thing now, and as a gentleman, as a normal person, a Democrat, he was in his house where he was putting up. They had to call you. They've already finished a primary. Say, but they scheduled primary for so. Say, okay, they have picked the person they wanted to pick. The man wanted to cry. I think I don't know the party he was. When he now went to join APC, they showed him Pepe. So he was even saying it on channel television. Everybody was laughing at him that this man, they don't play this man. You were at home waiting for the time they scheduled for the primaries. Before they could say Jack Robinson, they had already finished primaries, and the man was still waiting for the actual time they scheduled. They said they've done it. The man was pained. So I don't know whether you agree with what Chief Falaya said that honest people can't become president of Nigeria. Leave your comment below and let us know what you think.